Hello and welcome to episode 343. Shout out to Halo of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and I want to start off giving love and respect to my Oklahoma State Cowboys, who won their fifth game, beating Oklahoma in the last foreseeable bedlam.
Which is sad. Really sad.
Which is really sad. But you know what I decided, Jason, is that you watch in the next couple of years, somebody's going to match them up in a bowl game because they know it'll be a gold mine.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. They'll won't play in a regular season game. I don't think they can play in a regular season game for about 15 years because the schedules are made.
Yeah, I know.
But I definitely see them playing in a bowl game if they were both bowl eligible and about the same level of bowl.
Yeah.
But it was great to see. They held Ollie Gordon to 138 and 2 touchdowns. And he'd been getting 270. So, they did a good job on him.
Very good job.
But the receivers were awesome, and the quarterback was awesome. So, they played well. They didn't have any turnovers. Oklahoma had 3 turnovers. Oklahoma got a really bad call. There was a definite pass interference call he should have made, but there was one where Oklahoma State could have had a touchdown in the first half, too. But the one on the Oklahoma receiver was much more blatant, so I could see how people were upset about it. But, hey, I've been on the bad end of those calls for years and years and years.
Yeah, and
I'm happy.
And as every player says and coach says, you can't let the game come down to one call. That means you failed.
Can't.
Yeah, you failed somewhere else along your way. So, yeah.
Well, and the other thing was that Jimmy Johnson, I guess, had come in and talked to him during the week. And so in the post game, Gunny did the Jimmy Johnson, how about them Cowboys?
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm real happy. Now Oklahoma State has 3 games left. They're ranked 15th in the country now. They have 3 games left. If they win all 3, they'll be in the Big 12 championship game. They won't go any further than that, but they'll be in the Big 12 championship game.
That's still something.
And they have UCF, Houston, and BYU, and they'll be favored in every game.
Yeah. What else is big in college football? USC out of the top 25 now.
Yeah. But that was a game when nobody could stop anybody.
It was almost 1,200 yards of offense and 109 points, I think.
Yeah.
Or something ridiculous. Yeah.
Washington won by, I think it was 10. It
Yeah.
was like 54-45 or 55-45, something like that. But
Yeah.
a lot of points, a lot of scoring. Georgia looked good.
Yeah.
Ohio State got off to a slow start, but looked good. This week we have Michigan, Penn State, so we'll see how good Michigan is, but we're also going to see that Penn State's not that good.
I think we're definitely going to see that, yeah.
The game's at Penn State. I think Michigan will win by 15 points.
Yeah.
In a low-scoring game. I think the game could be like 30-10, 30-15, something like that. Alabama looks strong again. Pummeled LSU.
Pummeled them. Yeah.
So they play Mississippi, but it's at Alabama next week. But Alabama appears to be on the doorstep, just sitting, waiting for somebody to, Ohio State or Michigan's going to lose because they play each other.
Right. Yeah.
You have
9-0 Washington looks really strong. 9-0 Florida State. Yeah.
I don't think Florida State plays anybody.
No, Florida State should roll
That
into.
could be their detriment.
Yeah. But they should roll. I think that they've been strong enough and they've got a nice enough resume and exciting players. I think if they win out, they're in.
Yeah, it helped them that Clemson beat Notre Dame.
It did. Yeah.
So, but a pretty interesting week in college football.
And then I guess my last college
Army beat Air Force, which was my shocker of the week.
Oh, yeah. But in really cool news, in the AP Top 25, coming in at number 21, 9-0 James Madison. And coming in at number 25, 9-0 Liberty. In the AP poll. So, it's nice to see, right?
Yeah. Always nice to see. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But good week college football. But, I'm going to go to the Oklahoma State UCF game and just hope Oklahoma State doesn't stub its toe because after a big game like that, it's hard to, come down. So we'll see.
It's true. Well, that's what the coach is there for, right? Keep everybody
Hopefully so.
heads on straight and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Should we just roll right into the NFL then?
Let's roll right in the NFL. I mean, big game today, Philadelphia, Dallas.
Yeah.
Just starting now. So, I mean, I don't know. I would think I would bet on Philly because Philly's at home, but Dallas has looked really good the last couple of weeks. They've been scoring a lot of points and getting some guys open and moving the ball fairly well.
They have. Yeah, and apparently moving, why can I not remember his name? The receiver, they moved him from the inside to the outside, CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
And then he just went off. And it's amazing that they would take coaches that, apparently he was asking all year to move him around the formation, put him outside a little bit more. And the second they do, it goes really well for them.
Well, let's see. It's 3rd and 6. They run 2 plays. This is obviously going to be a pass play.
I would assume so, yeah. And then tonight
shout out to Josh Dobbs, right, Jay?
I love Josh Dobbs. I was so excited for him to be the Steelers' quarterback of the future. But he's on his 5th team, I think, in his short NFL career.
Yeah.
And he comes in today, 3 days after being traded.
Less than a week.
Yeah. And he led that team to victory, and he was fantastic.
He ran, he passed, he opened up things himself. He was dynamic.
And the Vikings right now, 5-4, which is pretty solid, right? They're in the playoffs as of today, I believe. And
very solid right now. They're playing really well right now. And I think with Josh Dobbs, they're going to play pretty well. And if they get Jefferson back,
yeah,
if and when.
Yeah, that's not a Super Bowl team. That's not a team you want to see in one round, right?
No.
Because Josh Dobbs made some plays with his legs today that were just phenomenal, especially on the touchdown run. And then there was like a 40-yard scramble that I think was only a 20-yard gain, but he was, spinning out of tackles behind the line.
Right.
And he always falls in that category of, I guess, of the Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Gardner Minshew, the, two gloves Teddy, the guys that can play really well at times, and you just never seem to get the shot.
It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And again, we'll shout out to our former Steeler. We really liked him. A literal rocket scientist. Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, he played really, really well.
He did. And shout out to Houston and C.J. Stroud, who came back and won that game today. In the waning seconds with a running back as their kicker, who did make an incredible field goal. I know they just beat Tampa Bay and they only have 3 wins on the year, but I think the Texans are heading in the right direction.
I definitely think Texans are heading in the right direction.
I mean, they're feisty. C.J. Stroud looks like the real deal. He threw 5 touchdowns, 400-something yards today, and he just... I think you can kind of, they talk about the eye test, and there's no analytic to talk body language and the way your teammates react to you. There's not an analytical stat for that, but he has it. He's got that swagger, that confidence. You can tell the team responds to him. It's nice. It's a nice thing to see.
Yeah, it really is.
I guess the biggest game today so far that's happened, I guess we'll start with the morning game in Germany. No Taylor Swift, no Travis Kelce, but the Chiefs won 21-14.
Yeah, I think Travis Kelce had 3 catches for like 14 yards.
Yeah. So.
And the leading receiver was the backup tight end.
And he only had like 40-something yards.
Yeah. But again, the Dolphins have not beat a team with a winning record.
No, and if you missed that game, and I can understand why, because it started at 8:30 and it's a Frankfurt, Germany game. It was 14-0 pretty early on, and towards the end of the second half, Miami was driving for at least a field goal. They were in field goal range. Tyreek Hill fumbled. The Chiefs returned it for a touchdown. It was like a 10-point, 14-point swing to end the half. And then when you look at the fact that it ended up 21-14, that was a giant, giant play.
Yeah, the Chiefs did not score in the second half.
No.
And the other game, the Ravens absolutely smashed the Seahawks.
That was not even close.
Not even close. 37-3, I think it was.
Yeah. Seahawks could get nothing going on offense. And I only watched a little bit of that game, but I have to give our Chase Claypool Award to DK Metcalf for a guy that just seems like he should be a lot better than he is. There was a play, he had the 50-yard reception. And I know you have to save your body, but it seemed like that was a time where, like, if you're the 6'4", full head of steam, don't run out of bounds. Try to go through that defender, and I feel like he consistently doesn't do that.
No, I agree.
Because again, they got their ass kicked, and it probably wouldn't have. But it just seemed like that could have been one of those tone-setting. It's the first big play. You're running for 50 yards. It's you and two defensive backs, and you just shot right out of bounds. And it just felt like your team needed something a little bit more than that. Sadly, the Patriots lost for all our Patriot fans. They look pretty bad.
Well, and the Rams look really bad. That's
Yeah.
another team look really bad today.
Well, no Matthew Stafford, and the guy that was in charge was not looking very well. So
Now, I didn't pay attention to it, but who played quarterback for the Cardinals today?
Nick Toon, a
Whoever
rookie.
the hell Nick Toon is.
He's a rookie. I think he might have been like Arizona State or one of those schools. But they do think Kyler Murray might be back next week. So I think that was part of their impetus in trading Josh Dobbs, get some value for Dobbs, see what Nick Toon can do, and then just pave the runway for Kyler Murray. Or
Whoever the next flavor of the month is going to be.
yeah. Well, Kyler Murray is an interesting one because he has looked incredible at times. You know, he's had 7-8 game streaks where he's looked like the real deal, but then you got all the off the field stuff. You know, with his attitude, apparently. You know, it's all speculative, but the weird homework clause and things in his contract, and then he is the other one that is sort of the cautionary tale of a Bryce Young, right? Kyler Murray's a little guy.
Yeah, very little.
And as great as he can play for half a season, he has not proven, obviously he's coming off the injury reserve now, that he can stay healthy. So, yeah.
I'm beginning to think Kyler Murray should stick to baseball.
It's not too late, right?
No, not too late at all.
Yeah.
And he can stay healthier.
It's true. And he was really good at baseball.
Yeah. I think he's the property of the Oakland A's, as a matter of fact.
Well, I think it's time to talk about our 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers.
And whenever the talking heads start talking, I don't know how they could be 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Still no 400 yards of offense, and still they've been outgained in every game this year.
Yeah. Outgained in every game this year, and they have a negative 30-point differential.
Yeah.
They've only put up 153 points all year, and the only teams that are worse than them are the Jets, understandably, the Patriots,
Probably the Cardinals.
and the Cardinals. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, while you're talking about the Steelers, and I know you're a big George Pickens fan.
I am.
Well, why don't you explain George Pickens' behavior to me?
I'm going to chalk it up to the younger generation likes to mope and whine on social media and delete pictures. That's just sort of their thing that they do. George Pickens should have got his foot down on that touchdown, and then he probably wouldn't be. I mean,
no question.
That was on him. There was plenty of runway. It would have been a great catch, but there was, for a professional number one receiver, know where you are on the field, get your foot down, drag it. I guess all I would say is all these sort of shenanigans that he's pulling, sort of the, little bit of a whiner and a crybaby and a little bit of attitude, that was all one of the reasons. He had the injury to his knee, and then the attitude was why he slipped to the second round. No one doubted his first round ability and size.
No,
right?
He's got all kind of talent.
All kind of talent. And we talked about it a little bit last week. I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, but when you listen to great point guards, and they'll secondhand compliment somebody and being like, I have to get them involved early or they'll sulk the rest of the game. And that's George Pickens. And if I'm Matt Canada and Mike Tomlin and we signed off and we drafted this guy, we got him in camp, we know who he is, you got to get him the ball early. I don't know.
Well,
I don't have an excuse for why he didn't celebrate with Deontay Johnson and why he looked like somebody pooped in his cereal on the sideline. That's just when your team is winning. And again,
All right, Jason, I'm going to give you four different Steeler receivers.
Okay.
In groups of two.
Oh, wow.
And you tell me which one you think George Pickens is going to end up in.
All right.
So is he going to end up in the Limas Swede Martavius Bryant group, or is he going to end up in the Plaxico Burress Antonio Brown group?
Oh, I think clearly. I mean, he's too talented. I think he's Plaxico Burress, Antonio Brown. I worry that, he's become a hostage, not a volunteer. And they're going to get like a 5th round pick from somebody good, and then he'll be the best receiver in football for the next 5 years.
No, I get a feeling that no matter where he goes, he's going to be who he is.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think it's going to change. I don't think it has anything to do with that.
No, but
I think he's a head case.
He is a head case, but I think if he's getting the ball more, I think it's going to change. And I mean, I think playing for this offense is incredibly frustrating for any wide receiver.
I agree with that.
And I've come to, when you listen to Tomlin talk, have you really listened to him? And I don't want to defend Matt Canada, who did move down from the booth and they had the best offensive performance, so maybe that was a thing. But I think when your boss wants to win games, scoring 15 points a game, which I believe Mike Tomlin does, I do think it restricts you a little bit as an offensive coordinator. And then I think Kenny Pickett sucks. I'm out on Kenny Pickett. I'm fine. Let's bring in Mason Rudolph, who you'll notice George Pickens did not unfollow on social media.
Yeah, because he's probably working with them.
Yeah, but
well, Eagles go right down the field on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
7-0.
Eagles are really, really good. And again, you look at good teams and bad teams, and Eagles are even when they haven't played their best football this year, they've looked really good all year. Well,
it's like the pendulum. I mean, everybody was on the Cowboys bandwagon last week. Now, if they get hammered today, everybody will be off it. And then they'll win another game and everybody will be back. It's amazing. They are America's soap opera.
Yeah, and it's weird watching.
Especially Get Up soap opera.
Yeah, they love it. But, I mean, they do analytics on all those shows. Like, there's a reason that they keep talking about the same things over and over again, because apparently that's what people want to hear. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can move from one Philadelphia story to a second Philadelphia story, right?
Let's see. We're getting out sitting in the phone when you talk about?
I mean, Buffalo-Cincinnati tonight's an exciting game, but we'll wait and talk about that next week.
Yeah, that's going to be it. That's the Dallas-Philadelphia game and then Buffalo-Cincinnati. Those are two really, really good games.
Oh, yeah. And then if you're a Jets fan, maybe Monday night's exciting for you.
And I'm not going to be probably watching the football. I don't think I'll watch football game today or not. I probably am. I'm going to tape something I'll talk about during my entertainment moment.
Okay. So James Harden got what he wanted, right?
Well, at least for now. At least for now,
yeah. But he powdered his way out of Philadelphia. Somehow, they didn't get Terrence Mann, but they got 2 first and 2 second round picks out of the deal.
Yeah.
And considering there was no competition for James Harden, that's kind of a lot to give up for him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious to see what effect he's going to have on that team that was playing fairly well.
Yeah. And more importantly, our favorite player, Russ, who was playing phenomenal going back to the playoffs last year. Really
he was off to a good start this year too.
He and Harden, they played together before, and it just doesn't. I mean, you have too many people that need the ball, right?
Yeah, that's 4 people. Well, that's 4 people. And of those 4, Russ probably, it's hard to say. It's 4 people that want the ball. There's no question about that.
Yeah. I just, and I get it. Now you can rest Kawhi Leonard and Paul George a little bit more because Harden can probably carry the load in the regular season, It's just hard to imagine that working.
I agree.
And Embiid looks fairly happy about it, I think.
Embiid looks happy. My impressions of the first week, LeBron looks old.
At times he's looked like the best player in the game. Like,
yeah.
I think what's sad for them is, LeBron played 29 minutes that first game and spoke about how that this was the plan to keep him healthy for the playoffs. He's
And
played
then
like
how many
38,
next game?
42, yeah. In order for them to beat anybody, and we thought they were going to be way better than they are this year, right, with that new supporting cast, LeBron has to play 40 minutes a night and play phenomenal. And
Yeah,
then
he's not. They're not going to win with him playing less than 30 minutes a game.
no. And then Anthony Davis is such a weird player because, he looks like an unstoppable 7-footer one night and he's putting up 30 and LeBron's putting up 30 and they're blowing people off the court. And then the next game he's putting up 16. And I think that's just who he is, right?
I would probably put him on my most overpaid team.
Yeah. But I feel like he's frustrating in a different way because, you just don't, he's going to disappear for a game or two at a time, but you just don't know which one it is. And it doesn't seem to matter. It's not like it's a matter of stakes or, the moment. Because, he's won a chip and he played really well in the bubble. But it just, you can't count on him night after night to be, because he was supposed to take over. It was supposed to be Anthony Davis's team with LeBron. And he's just not good enough to do that.
Well, let's talk about Wimby.
Yes.
Wimby is highly entertaining to watch.
Incredible to watch. And just, if you've never watched Wimby and you're not an NBA, just watch some Wimby highlights right now because you haven't seen somebody that is physically this person.
Because there's never been anybody that's physically this person.
No, he is an alien, if there's such a thing as aliens. And they beat...
There's never been anybody that big, that quick, that nimble, that versatile with an inside and an outside game.
Yeah. And he can be late on a play, and he's so long that he still contests shots. There was that, maybe controversial play with Kevin Durant where Durant got behind him and kind of spun him around. But he's still so long. He was able to get his arm up there and, affect the shot. And the 38-point night he had in their second straight victory over the Suns, that was the first game his teammates sort of gave him real looks,
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just sort of been playing within the offense and he's getting a lot of fast break points and, but they were literally looking for him. He scored 10 of the final 12 points in that game that became really close. And the Spurs are 3-2, Dad.
Yeah, the Spurs are going to be a playoff team. There's no question about it.
They're really solid. Because, you look at the teams that aren't in, and Sacramento's disappointing. Phoenix is a little disappointing. Memphis is 0-6.
Booker's been hurt, though, so
Yeah.
I'm giving Phoenix a pass.
Yeah. We look at the top of the standings. The Nuggets are 6-1. Not surprising. Golden State 5-1 with Chris Paul coming off the bench. It's still a pretty nice team. Then the Mavs at 4-1, the Pelicans at 4-2, and then it's everybody else. But the Spurs are right there.
Yeah.
And then we have one undefeated team left in the NBA this year, the Boston Celtics.
I have become. You've told me how good he was since I've watched a few games. But I'm a big Josh Giddey fan.
Yeah, he's fun, isn't he?
He's a lot of fun. He's 6'8".
Yeah.
And he could do a lot of interesting things. He can score inside, he can score outside. The other night I watched him, they were playing the Pelicans. They had a 25-point lead and lost the game.
Yeah. They need, I love Shea. I like the Williams brothers. I like Giddey. I really like what I've seen from Chet so far. But I think they should use some of their 405 picks over the next 3 seasons. If I were them, I would probably be calling Portland and asking about Robert Williams from the Celtics that they got in that trade. Because I like that guy. I know he can't stay healthy that much, but he's a nice big. They just need some more size inside. I don't know who's available. Maybe another veteran wing or a veteran guard, and then they could really compete. Because at some point, Presti's got to start pushing these chips in, right?
I think they need somebody with an attitude too.
Yeah. Because you can't keep, you can't keep 14, I think it's 14 first-round picks in the next 6 drafts.
Yeah, you don't need that.
You don't need it. And you got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's at least a top 10 player. You got Giddey, you got the Williamses. You have a really nice team. And if there's a guy that becomes available, I think you got to go get him.
All right, I'll tell you who I want. Pat Bev.
You want Pat Bev?
Yep.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
I do. I want attitude.
Okay.
I want attitude. I want somebody that just wants to win and make you uncomfortable and just grind on you.
Yeah. Oh, we should shout out that the 76ers are 4-1 without James Harden. That's a pretty nice start for them.
Addition through subtraction.
Addition through subtraction.
I mean, because there's a lot of emotional and mental drama that went with that too.
Yeah.
It had to affect a lot of other players.
And as exciting as Wimby has been, do we need to move on to the most exciting part of the NBA season, the in-season tournament, which has begun?
Yes, go ahead.
They got fancy new courts.
And fancy uniforms.
And fancy uniforms. And I do like some of the...
new trophy.
Yeah. I do like some of the uniforms. You know, I usually like things that people consider ugly, you know, as far as uniforms go.
Yes.
I'm not loving the courts. I like that they're attempting to make it look different, but I don't know if I love what they've done with the courts. Do you like them?
I don't like the whole concept. I mean, you're trying to tell me this is different.
Yeah.
But it still counts toward this. And it counts toward this and it counts toward this. So I'm not getting it. I don't see the need. I don't see, I know why it's there. Because people don't really care about games in November. That's why the tournament is there. I mean, I've always said I would start the NBA season the day, Thanksgiving week. The Wednesday of Thanksgiving week would be when I'd start the NBA season.
I think that's great, yeah.
You have plenty of games, and there'd be all meaningful games. And that's when people start caring about the NBA. Because you've got too much NFL and too much college football and everything else. You need to go where you can own something. And owning it in early November, it's just too hard.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I've seen, Adam Silver talking about it. The TNT guys talking about it much more negatively. Windhorse, like every NBA person has a segment every day on one of the talking head shows explaining what the tournament is, which I don't think is a great...
And you had Richard Jefferson do this amazing commercial trying to explain it and trying to sell it. It's just not. I don't know,
And there's no real... like you said, the games count towards the tournament, but also still count towards the regular season. And there's no real incentive to win it, right? I mean, I know it's a little bit more money, but everybody makes money. So,
No. If you want to have an in-season tournament, fine. Have an in-season tournament. Play teams from Germany and Spain and Argentina and Italy.
Oh, yeah.
And make it interesting. This is not interesting.
No, this is new uniforms on different courts and then people explaining what the in-season tournament is the entire time. And then, like I said, I think if you're a certain player, Chris Paul is a great example. Or, Carmelo Anthony in the past. Like, if you're a guy that's never won the big chip, I don't think you want to win the in-season tournament. Not in the first year,
No.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you'd get a lot of shit for, be like, oh, in-season tournament champion. Look at my ring.
Yeah. So I'm not into this.
No.
I'm not seeing it.
But we've got Wimby and some really exciting basketball. So
if you haven't watched Wimby, watch Wimby.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to say.
I guess maybe we should have started out the show saying congratulations, Texas Rangers.
Yes, we should have. Great shout out to the Texas Rangers. Undefeated on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then, but it wasn't, it wasn't a competitive series. I mean, it's 4-1.
4-1, yeah.
And it was kind of disappointing. But, shout out to the Rangers, get off the schneid, win. Another team that's never won has won now, so that's good.
Which is really cool. That's why I ended up, I wasn't following it, but they were my sympathetic favorites. I'm like, well, you've never won it ever. So I'd like to see if it's not a team that I care about, I'd rather see a team that's never won before win.
And the other thing, Bruce Bochy, look how old he is, and he's just a nice, him, Dusty Baker, you got all these older guys that are just, do a really nice job of getting things managed and getting people on the same page and getting them excited about different things. So I like that style.
Yeah. Well, there's something too, guys that were there long before analytics that can, incorporate the modern game but still understand, people and all those other things. So I feel like that was kind of they threw some of that stuff out, so it was kind of cool.
So what's your take on Harbaugh in Michigan?
Well, it looks like it's a really weird position to be in, right? Because if you're Michigan, or if you're Ohio State, if you're anybody in the Big 12, like you have a team that is on the verge of maybe competing for a national title, right?
Right.
And if you yank it from them, if you take away from them now, like that hurts your conference, it hurts everybody. But if they get found guilty after, you can take the title away if they win the title. It's a mess. And like I said, I think you need to be consistent. Cheating is cheating, and you know, all of it should be punished. Like, I feel like when you open a door and people kick the door open further, like you've still opened the door. And I'm not saying what they did was right. I mean, the mustache and the fake hat and all that kind of fake mustache, like something was just beyond ridiculous. Where it almost seemed like you're watching like a Nathan Fielder show rather than, an actual thing happening. But, they obviously took it way too far. But I don't know.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean,
and again, you worry because there's all these rumors that Harbaugh wants to go back to the NFL. And if he doesn't get punished this year and he walks away from the school, then it's not the guy that, because as we agreed, he knows what's going on. He's ultimately in charge, right?
There's no question.
And if he gets
no question.
If he gets to have
his, somebody paid this guy off now to quit and walk away.
Yeah.
So he got a check from somebody to walk away, and ultimately he's gonna own up, and he's gonna say he just wanted to help and he took this on his own and he did this. He created this whole system.
Right.
Which we know is bullshit, but that's what he's going to say. But if I'm the Big Ten schools have all come out and said, we want the commission to do something about this now. We don't want to wait.
Yeah.
It's not fair. And I agree with that. It isn't fair.
No.
And if this has been going on and, you're Penn State, you're Ohio State, and he's got all these signals and everything else, I mean, you got a lot of work to do to change them before you play.
Oh, yeah. And again, if it doesn't happen now, then, and Harbaugh does leave for the NFL, has been rumored for the last 2 or 3 years. Like, he gets to have his great season this year and then walk away pretty much punishment free. And everybody's left to deal with his mess, which...
Well, I'm making my prediction right now for Harbaugh.
Okay.
Mark Davis.
Oh.
His behavior is very Raider-esque.
It is. It's true.
And, how many guys has Mark Davis hired? I mean, why not?
Yeah,
just like that he's the shiny object.
What is it, $85 million they're paying in dead coaches' fees? Or
yes. Yeah.
How you going to phrase that? I probably phrased that poorly. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
Dead coaches' money or dead money being paid to coaches, I guess would be the right term, right?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. I got a little twisted, tongue-tied. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know you teased some entertainment news, right?
Yeah. Tonight on National Geographic.
Okay.
It was a 3-part series. I think they're playing all 3 parts of November 22nd, 1963. The whole JFK saga.
Okay.
And so I don't think I'm up for watching 3 hours of that tonight.
No.
But I'm gonna tape it and come back to it. But I'm excited about seeing that. I also just started the new John Grisham book, which is picking up 15 years after The Firm with the same characters.
Okay.
And I'm about a third of the way through, and it's a great read.
Oh. I mean,
so I would throw that out there.
He writes very readable, fun beach stuff. Like, he's
very readable, and the stories are good, and he's he develops good characters.
Yeah.
And this is 15 years later. Now, whether Tom Cruise was in The Firm, right?
He was, unfortunately, yeah.
So Tom Cruise could be in. He could pick up the role 15 years later, and probably I could see that happening.
I could too, yeah. That's get him out of the action stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Firm surprisingly still holds up as a movie too. Even though I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, it does work the whole movie. It's fun.
No, I agree. So that's one of my entertainment things.
Okay.
The other episodes of Bosch dropped.
I saw that. I haven't checked them out yet.
I'm going to have to finish that up. That's exciting.
Yeah. I would say for me, I've been playing Nintendo's Super Mario Wonder, which is the new Super Mario Brothers game.
Hmm.
And Nintendo is just there's people that are just magical and incredible what they do. And Nintendo is able to make a game that everybody can play, but there's still challenges for the better players to play. And I know I've said that before, but like that's something
Well, that's important.
it's almost impossible to do. You know,
Yeah, it's very important though.
The Simpsons does it with their writing. Where you have a physics joke and the same time the Homer's being kicked in the nuts. That sort of the dichotomy of two great things at once for different tastes and different things. So it's pretty incredible. And then I've been watching Shoresy, which is a spin-off from Letterkenny, the lovely Canadian show that's going to end its 10th season this year. But those are there's a very unusual cadence to those Canadian shows that not everybody seems to enjoy. But I really like them.
True.
And Jersey has some really good hockey.
Any food?
Any food?
Any food on your side?
I feel like there should be food. I don't think I have food, sadly. No. I don't.
No, I was in Pittsburgh and I went to Fiore's, but we've talked about Fiore's on the show numerous times. And all I'll say is it was great as usual, and I would recommend it, but that's where I was, and I had breakfast at Pamela's, which also I talked about on the show numerous times. And, both of those are home runs, and every time I'm in Pittsburgh, I'm going to go to those two restaurants.
Yeah, and who can blame you?
So,
yeah,
you don't miss with those two.
No, we've been doing a lot more cooking, so yeah. I made a killer Alfredo.
I know what I want. I got a food moment. I do have one.
Okay.
So, if those of you that watch Thursday Night Football, J.J. Watt was there at the game.
He was.
And they made a big deal about him eating chocolate-covered pretzels from Sari's. So there's a Sari's store at the Pittsburgh International Airport.
You get some pretzels?
So I bought some chocolate-covered pretzels, and I bought some chocolate mint peppermint patties.
Okay.
That were just incredible. So Sari's Chocolate, Sarris, I think it's called. Absolutely incredible. Some of the best chocolate I've ever had.
Well, I like that.
But I wouldn't have had, and I bought Mom some of the pretzels, and she said they're great. But I wouldn't have bought it if I wasn't watching on Thursday night, and all of a sudden I'm learning all about how great Sari's chocolate is.
Yeah.
And J.J. Watt actually brought it into the suite.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. All right.
And I have an anticipated food moment that's happening tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm going to Four Rivers.
I love Four Rivers.
And this is the time of year they have the Pilgrim Sandwich, which is smoked turkey, cranberry sauce, dressing, gravy on a roll.
Okay.
So I'm going to have a Pilgrim Sandwich tomorrow.
That actually sounds, for a sandwich, it's even mildly healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
They only have it, starting the early November up till Thanksgiving. And then it goes away till next year. And I haven't been to Four Rivers for a while, so I'm excited about going.
Yeah, I am too. I'm excited for you. I love Four Rivers. Well, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Watch Penn State, Michigan. Root for the good guys. Good guys wear white.
At some point, Michigan's got to get some sort of punishment. All right, talk to you soon.
I hope so. Take care.